Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars video. Even more panels have been announced for Star Wars Celebration, and now we know for certain they're about to unveil the future of Star Wars animation. On the Friday, April 18th, there is a panel titled Lucasfilm Animation's 20th Anniversary. It's being held by Dave Filoni himself. This panel serves as both a look back at previous shows like The Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, and a sneak peek at what's to come. There are rumours that we're getting a follow-up to The Bad Batch Season 3, not in long form, but instead in another Tales of anthology show. Word on the street is that it's going to be titled Tales of the Clones. Over the last couple of years, we've heard a lot of rumours about different projects in development on the Lucasfilm animation front. There were rumblings about a Tales of the Sith and a Tales of the Bounty Hunters, but none of those were announced. So I guess they can finally set the record straight. Now that The Bad Batch has come to an end, what is the future for the animated side? No matter what though, I hope we see Omega's story continue. I want to see her reunite with Hera Syndulla and be part of the rebellion. It's interesting because from the very first time she appeared, I always assumed she was following in Ahsoka's footsteps, and that one day she'd be a very big part of this franchise. I still think that's the case. But a recurring question I see quite often is, in 2025, who is the face of the Star Wars franchise? For the original trilogy, it was Luke. When I grew up during the prequel trilogy, it was Anakin. During the sequel era, it was Rey. Who is it in 2025? With all of the recent shows, with all of the upcoming movies, who is the character that represents the face of Star Wars nowadays? Some say it's Grogu, some say it's Mando. I think if you ask Dave Filoni, and this seems to be more true with every passing Mandoverse show, it's Ahsoka. And I'm not saying Omega is going to be the face of Star Wars, but I wonder if that was Dave's intention when he first created her. And now that all of the panels have been announced, fans have noticed it's rather meagre on the live action front. The main focus is Andor Season 2 and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but in terms of a panel with tons of new live action shows announced, we're not getting that this time. And that tells me, in light of viewership, the shift back to the big screen, and recent performance problems, after the remaining shows, the future of Star Wars streaming is going to be animated. And personally, I think it's a very solid move. But in light of all of this, there is only so much they can do with the clones and the dark times. I wonder if the next stage of the Mandoverse initiative could also contain some animated stuff. Another huge update from Celebration. They've just confirmed there is going to be a Fett family panel, celebrating the legacy of Jango and Boba Fett, with Temuera Morrison and Daniel Logan. If there was ever a place to announce a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, it'd be right here, but I have a feeling they're not going to do that. Another major announcement: hours after Star Wars Hunters was cancelled, Lucasfilm announced on the Saturday at Celebration a new strategy turn-based tactics game is going to be unveiled, developed by Respawn and Bit Reactor. Star Wars fans have already expressed they expect this one to be cancelled too. Moving on, there is also going to be a big publishing panel, and while overall interest in Star Wars novels has decreased in recent years, this again is a big opportunity to get fans reinvested. A recent leak suggests, after 10 years, we're getting a Force Awakens spin-off novel. Brand new content that ties into Episode 7. However, it sucks we're not getting a 20th anniversary panel for Revenge of the Sith. Something we are getting though, is a Heroic Sidekicks panel. This is where Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, Ahmed Best, Jar Jar Binks, and Alan Tudyk, K2SO, take the stage for a behind-the-scenes look at their performances in Star Wars. And I might be reading too much into this, but could this be the place where we get an update for a droid story? Something announced back in 2020. We haven't heard about it since. Here to discuss all of the latest updates with me is Star Force 1. Welcome back. So do you want to start with the movies and the live action before we talk about animation? What are your thoughts? Are you excited for, first of all, Andor? Because I don't hear you talk about Andor very much.
Okay, so we'll start with Andor and then I'll get into the movie. I have some very deep thoughts on that. Andor, I agree with some of the criticism that it doesn't have the core of Star Wars, that George Lucas fantasy feel, but it's definitely a separate branch of Star Wars. And it's definitely one that they need to keep doing because it's the only good content they've got at the moment. That's my general thoughts. I'm very excited for season 2, especially if they start bringing in more of that. I don't know, if we see like the Emperor and it's not just a cameo, I think that would be very interesting. And I've also come to hate the cameos, just random cameos here and there. But if it's done well, I think it's a good move that they put on YouTube, but I do think it is a move of desperation. I think they really want to get a new set of eyes on this show that are not in the traditional Star Wars audience. I think they're really worried about the numbers. They know they have a good product, but they know that the viewership was terrible last time, as we saw in the YouTube views, in the Nielsen numbers. I think it only charted near the bottom, if it charted at all. Yeah, I think they're very worried about the viewership. I think the word of mouth will help it a lot. It'll be bigger than season 1, but I don't know if it's that Mando season 2 level punch.
While we're on the subject of the Mandoverse, after Andor is done, we have Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't get the impression they're going to announce anything in terms of like future spin-offs at Celebration.
How much can I go into what we've heard from the leaks?
Anything. I'm basically a leak channel at this point.
Okay, perfect. I was very excited for this movie. I was like, for years I was saying, Star Wars, they can't get a movie going. The perfect way to do it is just take a season of Mando, chop it up into a movie. There you go. It's a winning formula. And I said that before season 3, of course, which was not the best. But once I heard the leaks for this movie, I lost all hype. Ember as the main villain is terrible. I love Ember as a character, but as a main villain, terrible. It sounds exactly like the Clone Wars movie. The Road to the Hutt stuff. Hey, maybe they'll make it interesting, but I don't think this is the plan. This is the way to get back on the big screen. I don't know what you think about that.
Just feels low stake. It feels like this isn't the movie to get fans back. They've not had a movie since Rise of Skywalker, and the first movie back should be what Dave Filoni's movie promises. The big New Republic Remnants War. You could bring in some Yuuzhan Vong at the end and kind of tease the extra-galactic threat. In canon, they call it the Grisk. But the Mandalorian and Grogu sounds like a goofy, fun adventure. It is going to be very much surface level, don't expect enormous cameos, and it's just to get the show back to like what it used to be. I don't even know if it's going to be season 4, because Jon Favreau was like, he was done writing the 4th season. I'm not convinced that's what this is.
I don't know if you have any sources or whatever that are telling you why they have chosen such a low stakes re-entry to the big screen, coming off of literally the saga movies. And like a 6-year break, is it? Or it'll be like 7 years by then. And they're going back with such a low stakes thing. Are they just trying to rely on the name of Mando and Grogu? Or I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if you have any insight on that.
I don't, but I know Lucasfilm is very out of touch with fans.
That's for sure.
You know how Star Wars has become very self-referential?
It's referencing itself rather than...
Exactly.
Yeah, rather than referencing the sources that George referenced.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the dynamics of fan hype. Like, sorry, that's another thing. With Andor, I see it's releasing 3 episodes per week. That's crazy. Just from a basic fan hype perspective, it's just very stupid because you want to drag that out. You want to have discussion, theories, hype, going through the whole series, not just, 3 times.
A great example of what you're saying is if you go to YouTube and type in The Mandalorian Chapter 15, and you look at the videos from the week before the Luke episode, there was like hundreds of preview videos and theory videos and speculation.
When Star Wars is winning, we're all winning. When Star Wars has huge hype, you could go down to a random guy on the street and he'll know what's happening. Like with The Force Awakens, that was certainly the case. Everyone knew about the Han Solo death. I got spoiled on the Han Solo death in a CSGO match. Just people were just randomly playing it. Just whenever, as soon as you came into the game, like it was that culturally widespread. But the leadership definitely has to go. They don't understand the modern fan dynamics or modern fan bases.
So for Celebration, there's going to be a lot of animation. This is something we've heard rumours of for a long time. I know they were making Tales of anthologies like Tales of the Clones. How do you feel that we might get a lot of little things instead of like a long, continuous Clone Wars style Bad Batch spin-off?
So there's 2 parts to it. First of all, it's a great idea to have it at all. It was better executed in Tales of the Jedi. The other part of it is that also aligns with what's happening with the games. You really need to have an ongoing series, both in the games, like a live service game, and an ongoing animation project, just to keep Star Wars in the zeitgeist, just to keep it in conversation.